My cold, aristocratic guardian, the woman who raised me, would do anything to possess me. She had a penchant for strange, intimate obsessions, replacing my favorite drinks with her own imported blends, and even sliding her porcelain-white feet under my covers in the dead of night to steal my warmth. It all began one midnight years ago, when I appeared on her doorstep, shivering. Aunt Eleanor, my mother's gone. She told me to find you. Before I could say another word, I collapsed. During the 3 days I lay unconscious, Eleanor Vance buried her best friend and swore an oath over the grave to care for me for the rest of her life. However, the icy, detached woman soon discovered a terrifying truth. She harbored a fierce, possessive hunger for the boy she had taken in. To avoid scaring me, she suppressed those dark thoughts, only letting them slip through in the silence of the night. At the rooftop of a luxury restaurant, a couple sat across from each other. I looked at the girl and spoke flatly. "Gwen, don't wait for us to get married. If you're so ambitious, you should try courting my aunt instead of aiming for me." Gwen Zhang bolted upright in a rage. "Lucas, what the hell is that supposed to mean?" "Exactly what I said. If you came here for money, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I don't have a single cent to my name." Gwen stared at me, her expression shifting from shock to disbelief. "I can't believe I wasted all this effort on you just to find out you're a pauper." Her face twisted into a mask of pure contempt. "In that case, we're done. I am a daughter of the Zhang family. There's no way I'm marrying a penniless loser like you." Without another word, she turned and stormed out. I watched her go, my eyes cold and devoid of pain. If Eleanor isn't jealous yet, then this woman is useless to me. In a private suite nearby, a conversation was unfolding. "Miss Vance, shall I call for young Master Lucas?" "No need." Eleanor's voice was as frigid as a winter gale. "Uncle Joe, do you think I should finally let him go?" Uncle Joe shuddered. That question felt like a death sentence. "Miss Vance, why don't you just speak plainly with Master Lucas? Ask him for his opinion?" "Whenever I see him dating those little girls," Eleanor whispered, her eyes dark, "I just want to drag him home, lock him in a room with a chain, and make sure his eyes never see anyone but me." Cold sweat broke out on the old man's brow. "Miss Vance, please, the more I hear, the more I fear for my life. The rumors about me and Julian West, did you make sure Lucas heard them?" "I did, Miss Vance. I followed your instructions to the letter." He didn't have much of a reaction at first, but the very next day, he announced he was dating Gwen Zhang. Though, I'm sure it was just a coincidence. "He didn't have any reaction at all?" Eleanor narrowed her eyes dangerously, her fingers absent-mindedly brushing against a velvet jewelry box nearby. "What should I do? I really want to bind him to me. Lucas, don't even dream of ever leaving my side." She stood up, her voice dropping to a glacial chill. "Uncle Joe, the Zhang family, they no longer need to exist." Back at the villa, I returned with a brooding cloud over my head. I sat on the edge of my bed, scrolling aimlessly through my phone. My thumb hovered over the chat history with Eleanor. I wonder if she's had lunch? Should I ask? No, I thought, pulling back. She's the one who's been ignoring me for days. If I reach out first, doesn't that mean I've lost? If she doesn't contact me today, I'm genuinely going to be furious. Suddenly, Eleanor's cold, melodic voice echoed through the living room. "Is anyone home?" "Aunt Eleanor, you're back." I bolted upright and ran straight to her. Even after a few days apart, she was as breathtakingly beautiful as ever. But I couldn't hide my irritation. "Why didn't you answer my messages? Are you mad at someone?" Eleanor's eyes flickered with a dark, hidden current. She asked tonelessly, "You've been staring at your phone. Were you waiting for Gwen to reach out?" "Why would I wait for her?" I replied, feeling aggrieved. "Besides you, who else in this world has the power to make me this upset?" Despite my anger at her recent neglect, I couldn't help but worry. "Aunt Eleanor, have you eaten yet?" She shook her head. Over the past few days, her obsession with my whereabouts had robbed her of her appetite, causing her chronic stomach pains to flare up again. Seeing her weary expression, the truth clicked in my mind. I helped her sit down on the sofa and quickly poured a cup of warm sugar water. "Drink this while it's hot. I'll go cook something for you. Do you want noodles or dough drop soup?" "Dough drop soup," she murmured. "Tomato base."
"Fine.
"Sit here and be good while you wait for me." Looking at my attempt to act tough and authoritative, the corners of Eleanor's lips twitched into a faint, microscopic smile. 10 minutes later, I hurried out of the kitchen. I was carrying the bowl with my bare hands, and the moment I set it on the table, I jumped back from the stinging heat. I instinctively grabbed my earlobes to cool my fingertips. Aunt Eleanor, the soup is ready. Eat it while it's hot. Your stomach will feel much better. Silly boy, why didn't you use a tray? Seeing my red fingertips, a flash of genuine pain crossed Eleanor's face. She grabbed my hand and, without a second of hesitation, pulled my burnt fingers into her mouth. In an instant, my whole body shuddered. A jolt of electric numbness surged through me. I swallowed hard, my voice trembling. Aunt Eleanor. I snapped out of the trance and awkwardly yanked my hand back. I'll just go rinse it under the cold tap. Maybe I was overthinking things, but as I pulled my fingers away, she looked disappointed.
Fine.
Go on then. I stood by the sink, staring at my damp fingertips in a daze. What is wrong with her? Did I do something to make her unhappy again? When I returned to the dining area, I found Eleanor busy on a phone call, her professional mask firmly back in place. The bowl of soup remained untouched. I sighed, scooped up a spoonful, blew on it until it was cool, and held it out to her. Aunt Eleanor, please eat. I've cooled it down for you. When she didn't move, I gently guided the spoon to her lips. What have you been doing these past few days to make your stomach flare up like this? Is it because Julian West isn't taking good care of you? That's enough, Lucas. I can feed myself, Eleanor said softly, a trace of embarrassment coloring her voice. I'm the adult here. It's disgraceful to have you feeding me like a child. Reluctantly, I set the spoon down, a heavy thought weighing on my mind. Soon, opportunities like this will become fewer and further between. Aunt Eleanor, what exactly have you been doing that kept you from coming home? I couldn't help but ask. A bitter, sour feeling rose in my chest at the thought of the rumors linking her to Julian, the famous young socialite. What else would I be doing? I was busy with work, she replied. But before, no matter how busy you were, you always brought your work home, I muttered, my voice thick with grievance. Eleanor deliberately straightened her expression, feigning a stern look. Lucas, don't be stubborn. I am your elder. You're only 5 years older than me, I grumbled. How does that make you an elder? Even if it's only 5 years, I am the one who raised you, Eleanor said, wiping her hands and standing up. But the moment she took a step, she stumbled. Luckily, I was fast enough to catch her. Aunt Eleanor, what's wrong? It's nothing, she said. I've been in high heels all day. My foot just slipped. My gaze swept coldly over the gathered servants. Aunt Eleanor, when I'm not around, you really have no idea how to look after yourself. What on earth is your staff even doing? Eleanor's face flushed slightly. All right, let go of me. I can walk on my own.
I didn't argue.
Instead, I swept her up into my arms and carried her straight toward the stairs. Butler, bring the first aid kit up now. The butler hurried to fetch the massage oils, thinking to himself, this oil might just be the thing to bring these two a little closer. In my arms, Eleanor could clearly feel how much I had changed. The boy she once knew had matured into a real man. She secretly inhaled the scent of my skin. But the distance from the living room to the bedroom was far too short. All too soon, I was gently setting her down on the bed. I moved to take off her shoes and stockings, but as I looked at her long dress, a wave of awkwardness hit me. Aunt Eleanor, where do these stockings even start? Realizing my intent, Eleanor's face turned a deep crimson. They're pantyhose, Lucas. You, go outside for a moment. I'll do it myself. Following her command, I walked out in a daze, my mind racing. I hadn't even held a girl's hand before. I had no idea what pantyhose really were, but if Eleanor said it, it was law. A few moments later, her voice drifted out from the bedroom. All right, you can come in. I pushed the door open and saw that she had removed the stockings. Aunt Eleanor, don't move. Let me take care of this. I hurried to her side, gently lifting her foot and slowly rotating her ankle. Let me massage it for you. It'll feel much better tomorrow. It might sting a bit, but I'll try to be as gentle as possible. As I spoke, I poured some massage oil into my hands, rubbing my palms together until they were warm. I placed my heated palms against her ankle, my movements soft yet firm. The searing contact from my hands made her feel as though her skin were catching fire. Her breathing grew shallow and erratic. Aunt Eleanor, why is your face so red? Oh, it must be a bit stuffy in here, she managed, her voice strained. I'm finding it a little hard to breathe. Eleanor felt herself losing control. This was the exact scenario she had played out in her mind 1,000 times, and now it was actually happening. I'll turn on the air conditioner then. I stood up to adjust the remote. How's the temperature? Still too hot? She shook her head weakly. It's fine now. She watched me intently, her voice tender yet laced with a hidden, sharp edge.
You silly boy, she thought.
If you keep massaging me like this, my heart is going to jump out of my chest. Even setting the AC to 16 degrees Celsius won't help. Aunt Eleanor, you're so good to me, I whispered. How could I ever let you go? Looking at my serious expression, Eleanor decided to probe. Lucas, you've been seeing someone lately, haven't you? My hand stiffened for a fraction of a second, my heart racing. Here it is. Finally, she's showing interest. Yeah, I met someone recently, but we just broke up. I looked at her, my eyes filled with anticipation. I expected her to be furious. Let the storm hit me, I thought. If it was a sincere relationship, you should have brought her home for me to meet, Eleanor said, her voice cold but masking a deep internal struggle. You're grown now. It's time to start thinking seriously about your future. I decided to throw more fuel on the fire. But Aunt Eleanor, her family wanted $50 million as a dowry. Lucas, you don't need to worry about money, Eleanor said glacially. If you truly like someone, I can provide that amount. Internally, she was thinking, I'd rather watch you squander every cent than see a single penny go to that John girl. Hearing that, my nose began to sting, and a surge of overwhelming emotion rose within me. Aunt Eleanor really was the best person in the world. I can't do it, I realized. I can't leave her. Aunt Eleanor belongs only to me. Gentle. Lighten your grip, Eleanor gasped in pain, snapping me back to reality. Aunt Eleanor, do you really not want me anymore? Just then, her phone vibrated on the nightstand. The screen lit up with the name Julian West, causing my eyes to darken with a brewing storm of fury. Wait a moment, let me take this, Eleanor said, reaching for the phone. Her voice was icy as she answered. What is it? My love, please help me. I'm finished if you don't come. Julian's voice was frantic. I'm busy right now. Are you with Lucas? I don't care. After all these years, you can't just abandon me like this. Eleanor took a deep breath. Send me the address. She hung up decisively. Aunt Eleanor, your foot is injured, I said, my voice thick with irritation. You shouldn't go out. It's late, and that man wanting you to meet him now definitely means he's up to no good. It's fine. I'll be back soon. The chauffeur will drive me. She stood up and began heading downstairs. I bit my lip, but in the end, I couldn't bear to see her struggle in pain. I carefully carried her to the car and whispered, I'll take you there.
No.
You stay home. Furious that the chauffeur was driving too slowly, I could only stand there and watch the car carrying her fade into the distance. Finally, I let out a long sigh and retreated to my empty room. Does she really like that man, Julian West, that much? The mere thought of her entering a marriage with someone else felt like a hand tightening around my heart, making it hard to breathe. Right then, my close friend, Caspin, sent me a message. Lucas, come out and play for a bit. Don't tell me your aunt still won't let you out at night?
How old are you?
If you don't show up, I'm taking it as a personal insult. My first instinct was to refuse. Despite how much Eleanor loved me, the family rules were strict, and I had never broken curfew. But then a thought flared. She went out to meet someone else. Why can't I? Rebellion surged within me. I messaged back immediately. I'll be there in 30 minutes. I headed straight for the garage. Seeing me, the butler looked concerned. Master Lucas, have you cleared this with the mistress?
No.
I'm heading to a bar for a few drinks. I've turned him down too many times. It would be rude to refuse again. I paused, then added pointedly. Besides, he invited some beautiful female colleagues. How could I miss that? I said it purely to see if the news would reach Eleanor and make her angry. I floored the accelerator and roared out of the villa. Meanwhile, Eleanor stood with her arms crossed, looking down at Julian West, who was currently being dragged by the ear by his grandfather in a pathetic display. Eleanor, are you my friend or not? How can you just stand there and watch my grandfather do this to me, without helping? Eleanor let out a cold laugh. Humph. If I'd known you were planning to use me as a shield by claiming I was your fiancé, I never would have come. Don't just pull his ear. I'd kick him across the room myself. Upon hearing this, Julian's grandfather promptly dealt his grandson a sharp blow to the back of the head. How dare you speak such nonsense in front of me, the old man barked. He then turned to her with a bow. Miss Vance, my deepest apologies. This worthless grandson of mine has troubled you. Eleanor's phone rang. Hello, Lucas? What is it? Hello, ma'am. Is this Aunt Eleanor? Hearing an unfamiliar voice, Eleanor's expression shifted instantly. Who is this? Why do you have Lucas's phone? On the other end, Caspian answered, his voice trembling. Aunt Eleanor, it's Caspian. The thing is, we're at the bar. Eleanor's voice turned bone-chilling. Which bar?
Send me the address. Now.
10 minutes later, Eleanor stepped into the club. A drunken man immediately approached her. Hey, beautiful. Are you here all alone? Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoed. Eleanor didn't even have to lift a finger to bring the entire club to a standstill. The bodyguards behind her had moved like lightning, snapping the arm of the man who had tried to touch her. The display left every other predator in the room frozen in their tracks. Where is Private Booth 01? Even the thumping music couldn't drown out the lethal frost in Eleanor's voice. It's over there, a waiter stammered, pointing down the right hallway. The moment the door swung open, Eleanor's reflexes were faster than thought. She grabbed the woman who was currently unbuttoning my shirt and yanked her away. The woman let out a cry of pain as she was violently thrown to the floor. Who the hell do you think you are? The woman shrieked, but seeing the towering bodyguards flanking Eleanor, she immediately went silent. Eleanor began to calmly rebutton my shirt, her voice like cracking ice. Where else did you touch him? And nowhere. I just got here. The woman looked like she was about to burst into tears. She had thought she'd landed a handsome client and was happy to play along for free, but she never expected him to have such a terrifying girlfriend. Whichever hand touched him, go and wash it clean. Yes, ma'am. A bodyguard immediately dragged the woman out. As for how it would be washed, that was left to the imagination. Once my buttons were done, and she was satisfied that no more of my skin was exposed, Eleanor's face softened slightly. Lucas. She gently patted my cheek, but I suddenly grabbed her hand. Don't run, caught you, you can't run anymore. Eleanor stared at the trace of saliva I'd left on the back of her hand, stunned for a heartbeat, before her face flushed to deep crimson. Gwen Zhang, shut up, don't mention her anymore. I mumbled. At the mention of that name, Eleanor's face went deathly pale. Even in your drunken stupor, you can't forget Gwen Zhang, can you? Eleanor gripped my chin, her teeth clenched as she demanded, just how much do you love her? It hurts. I struggled instinctively, mumbling under my breath. She belongs to me, no one can take her. Aunt Eleanor is mine. Julian West, go back to wherever the hell you came from. Eleanor felt like she was going to explode with a mix of fury and shock. Her eyes grew red with unshed tears. She leaned down, closing the distance between us, and pressed a hard, desperate kiss onto my lips. But before her reason could fully shatter, she pulled away. With a pained expression, she used her thumb to gently wipe away the trace of the kiss. She straightened my clothes and prepared to lift me. I'll carry him. Miss, let us help, a bodyguard offered. No need. Despite being a woman, Eleanor managed to lift my heavy, masculine frame and carry me to the car, leaving the bar behind. When we arrived at the villa, the servants rushed forward to assist, but she brushed them all aside. However, as she reached the final flight of stairs, I began to get restless, squirming and babbling nonsense. Don't. Aunt Eleanor. Lucas, be good. Carrying a tall man like me up the stairs was a challenge for her balance. Near the landing of the second floor, disaster struck. We both tumbled toward the floor. In that split second, Eleanor shielded me, making sure I landed safely on top of her. A sharp groan of agony escaped her lips. Her waist had taken the full force of the fall. The servants scrambled toward us. Miss, is Master Lucas all right? Take him to his room, Eleanor gasped. Even in searing pain, her first thought was my condition. Miss, the young master is fine. We will take care of him and call a doctor for you immediately. With the help of the maids, Eleanor struggled back to her own room. And one more thing, she managed to say. Don't mention a word of tonight to him. Yes, Mississippi. The servants exchanged looks, thinking to themselves, does our mistress truly love him this much? Back in her room, Eleanor lifted her shirt to find a massive, dark purple bruise blooming across her waist. She endured the pain, haphazardly applying some rose oil before standing up to head to my room. At my door, she ran into the family doctor. You can leave. But miss, I heard you were injured. Should I check?
No.
Go home. Eleanor entered my room. She reached out to pull the duvet over me, but just as she went to withdraw her hand, a powerful force yanked her down. Within a heartbeat, she was pinned beneath me on the bed.
Ha.
Caught you this time, you're not running away again. My eyes were still closed, but I held her in a vice-like grip, making it impossible for her to move. Lucas. Eleanor let out a soft, trembling sigh. She tried to push me back, but her voice was a mere whisper of its usual self. It turned out that I had fallen back into a deep sleep while sprawled on top of her. The room was filled with a strangely warm, thick atmosphere. Seeing me sleep so obediently, Eleanor couldn't resist reaching out to touch my hand. Perhaps she inadvertently squeezed too hard as I gave a sudden start. By instinct, she tightened her grip. I snapped my eyes open, the iris clouded with a faint, watery mist. It hurts. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. Eleanor's throat felt parched. She had no idea how to explain our current position. It was, quite frankly, impossible to justify. It's okay, I mumbled, leaning my head back against her chest and nuzzling her a few times. As long as it's you, I'm okay with anything. Hearing those words, a massive storm surged in Eleanor's eyes. Then, what if I said I wanted you to stay by my side forever? I beamed like a child. I'd love that. I want to be with you forever. My voice trailed off as I drifted back into unconsciousness. Eleanor realized only then that I was truly dead to the world. The next morning, I woke up with a headache, so intense it felt like my skull was splitting. As I struggled to get out of bed, I noticed something sparkling on the floor. Isn't this one of Aunt Eleanor's earrings? How did it end up in my room? I picked up the earring and went to find her. Did Aunt Eleanor go out already? Not yet, Master Lucas. The mistress has locked herself in her study all night. We asked if she wanted anything to eat, but she didn't answer. The maid looked worried. We don't dare disturb her. Master Lucas, perhaps you could take this in. She handed me a bowl of bird's nest soup.
Fine.
Since I'm such a kind soul, I'll help out this once. I took the tray and headed to the study door. Knock, knock. Who is it? Eleanor's voice drifted out. It sounded raspy, as if she hadn't touched a drop of water all night. Aunt Eleanor? It's me. Immediately, I heard a faint thud from inside, as if something had been knocked over. A moment later, her voice returned, telling me to enter. As I stepped into the study, the newly installed ventilation system was humming loudly. There was a faint, lingering scent in the air. Eleanor was reclining lazily in her chair. The servant said you've been in here all night. You must be starving. I brought some bird's nest soup for you. Just leave it there. No way. If I leave it, you'll just ignore it the moment I turn my back. I picked up the bowl and tested a spoonful to check the temperature.
Perfect.
Without realizing it, Eleanor obeyed. She opened her mouth and swallowed the soup as I fed her. Why are you here? She asked. Hearing this, I pulled the earring from my pocket. I woke up and found this on my floor, so I brought it over. Aunt Eleanor, did you come into my room last night? The moment the question left my lips, Eleanor swallowed hard. Yes, you were drunk last night. I suppose you don't remember anything? I scratched my head. Caspian invited me out for a drink. I only had a little bit. Seeing her skeptical look, I quickly added, I'm telling the truth. Just a few beers. I see. And what about that girl? What girl? I was genuinely confused. Nothing. Ultimately, Eleanor didn't push. If he wants to tell me, he will. Asking is useless. I have to head to the office now. I won't be back for dinner tonight. Hearing that, I grab her arm to stop her. Aunt Eleanor, why are you leaving so soon? Are you not coming home? Are you going on another date with Julian West? Here, let me put your earring on for you. Eleanor didn't refuse. She tilted her head slightly to make it easier for me. Her porcelain-white neck was incredibly captivating. The faint scent of her perfume made my hands tremble. Relax, she said, sounding amused. Just aim for the piercing and slide it in. Don't hold your breath. You're not performing surgery. It's my first time doing this, I muttered, feeling embarrassed. You've never done this for another girl? I grumbled under my breath. Who would I do it for? Don't you know? Any girl who shows even a hint of affection for me ends up being handled by you. Lucas, do you dislike me managing your life so much? Eleanor began to doubt herself. Have I been too strict over the years? Is that why he's starting to rebel? No way. I like it when you boss me around. I want you to do it for the rest of my life. I gave her a cheeky grin and looped my arm through hers. She let out a soft laugh at my teasing. I don't want to manage you forever. You'd get bored of me. Now hurry up and fix the earring. I really need to go. I succeeded on the second try. Aunt Eleanor, a classmate, gave me 2 movie tickets. Let's go see a film together tonight. I'm busy tonight. My voice instantly turned sour. What is it? Are you going out with Julian West again? Eleanor looked surprised. You knew? We have a meeting today to discuss an upcoming project. I felt as though I had been dunked in a vat of vinegar. Of course. It's Julian West again. Fine. Then I'll just find someone else to go to the movies with. If Eleanor could go on a date with Julian West, I needed someone by my side too. Find who? That girlfriend of yours? Why not? My rebellious spirit flared. Why is it that you can go out with Julian, but I can't go on a date with my girlfriend? Because I said so. Eleanor averted her gaze, afraid that if she looked at me any longer, she wouldn't be able to stop herself from tying me up. Before heading out, she issued a sharp command to the butler. Keep an eye on the young master. Do not let him step 1 foot outside this house. If he tries, I don't care if his legs get broken in the process. Eleanor Vance. You're the classic case of the authorities can start fires while the peasants aren't even allowed to light a lamp. I protested. As I tried to bolt for the door, the servants blocked my path. Eleanor's temper flared. In this house, I make the rules. She threw back over her shoulder before driving away from the villa. Master Lucas, why must you provoke the mistress so? The butler looked at me with genuine pity. Why can she go out on a date while I'm stuck here? I'm going out. Master, please don't make this difficult for us. If we let you out, we'll all be out of a job by tomorrow. You really think you can stop me? I snapped. In response, the butler clapped his hands. A squad of bodyguards instantly materialized behind him. You're welcome to try, Master Lucas. Ultimately, I had to bow to the butler's authority. I retreated to my room to play video games. The moment I logged on, I found my usual gaming partners and started venting my frustrations. Meanwhile, at the office, Eleanor was listening to a subordinate's report when her private phone suddenly rang. The subordinate tensed up. Everyone knew Eleanor Vance hated being interrupted during work. But to their surprise, the Ice Queen actually smiled when she saw the caller ID. I'm here. What is it? She answered softly. Little Snow, are you free? Talk to me for a bit. Eleanor glanced at the paperwork on her desk. The most urgent tasks were finished. She waved her subordinate away. You may go. She assumed I was calling to whine about being grounded this morning. I'm free.
Talk to me.
My girlfriend and I had a fight. I sighed over the line. She has another man on the side. Eleanor froze for a heartbeat. So, is this the real reason he rejected Gwen Zhang? Gwen really has gone too far, she said, her voice dropping an octave. Immediately, she picked up the office phone and issued a cold command. Buy up every single share of the Zhang family stock for me. Only after the order was given did Eleanor reply to my message. So she's a cheater? That is unforgivable. Honestly, from the moment you mentioned that girl, I felt she wasn't the right fit for you. Even Little Snow thinks there's no future for us? I felt a wave of deep sadness. I had protected these feelings carefully for years, terrified that one day I would lose control and speak the truth, and Aunt Eleanor would throw me and my luggage out of the Vance estate. Of course, if she has another man on the side, it means she doesn't care about you, she messaged back. It's better to break up early. Don't you agree? Aunt Eleanor doesn't care about me, and that's why she has a boyfriend? But I can't let her go. Even if she doesn't care about me, I still want to be with her, I replied. On the other end, Eleanor flared with rage, sweeping the documents off her desk and onto the floor. What does Gwen Zhang have that makes you love her this much? Little Snow, are you still listening? Actually, I have a deeper plan. They're going on a date tonight, and I want to ruin it. But right now, I'm being held captive by my family. I can't get out. Eleanor tried to soothe me. Then don't go out. Your family is only doing this for your own good. They're afraid that girl will hurt you again. I have my ways. Once the message was sent, I logged off the game. Eleanor rubbed her temples, staring at her desk. What is that boy planning now? She told herself she would return home early after discussing the project with Julian West. She was the head of the Vance house. She couldn't afford to be careless. Meanwhile, the more I thought about it, the more excited I became. Did she really think grounding me would do anything? I wonder if those secret escape organizations still exist? In the afternoon, while waiting for Julian for dinner at the restaurant, Eleanor still felt uneasy and called the butler. Butler, what is the young master doing? The young master just ate a whole lobster, a roast chicken, a plate of pineapple fried rice, a dessert, and a large milk tea, Mississippi. Fine, I see. With an appetite like that, there's no need to worry. If he wanted to cause trouble for Gwen's boyfriend, so be it. She would be the one to clean up the mess. At that moment, Julian West sat across from Eleanor Vance, his face a mask of regret. My love, please eat with me. Who were you just talking to? Eleanor hung up the phone and set it aside coldly. I have been waiting for you for exactly 5 minutes and 32 seconds. Good grief, I didn't realize. Quick, let's order. Make it fast. I have matters to attend to at home after we eat. Is it that boy you're raising again? Julian smirked. In my opinion, your patience with him is truly beyond imagination. I never thought you could keep someone fresh for this long. That is none of your concern, Eleanor snapped. Either eat or leave. Julian muttered to himself as he looked at the menu. What a woman. No mercy for the refined, just pure ruthlessness. 10 minutes later, the food arrived. The two began eating while discussing the collaborative project between their companies. Suddenly, a man dressed in athletic gear and wearing a duck-shaped motorcycle helmet burst into the restaurant, clutching a large box. Sir, we do not allow outside food deliveries here, a waiter shouted, rushing to intercept him, fearful of disturbing the high-profile guests. Hello, I'm a courier from a delivery app, the man shouted back. Someone paid me to deliver this item to a specific customer. I'm just looking for the recipient. The courier's eyes lit up behind his visor. Clutching the box, he ran straight to Julian's table. Hello, sir. Are you Julian West? You have a package to sign for. The courier's description matched the sender's instructions perfectly. There was no mistaking him. What is this? I didn't order anything, Julian said, looking annoyed. A young lady asked me to bring this to you. She said you would be very surprised. Have a great day. Goodbye. Before Julian could say another word, the courier bolted out of the restaurant. I suppose another one of your fair-weather girlfriends sent you a gift, Eleanor remarked with amused interest. That box looks like it's been used before. I have a bad feeling about this. Julian felt an odd itch and started scratching his arm instinctively. He was just about to call a waiter to help him open the box when the lid was suddenly pushed up from the inside by a small head. Woof, woof, woof. The sharp barking echoed through the restaurant, startling every patron. Julian let out a panicked yelp and scrambled up onto his chair. Ah, get away. Get this ugly thing away from me. A dog with a bizarre, almost comical appearance emerged, seemingly recognizing Julian as its target. It happily wagged its tail, trying its best to leap onto the chair. Seeing the commotion, the restaurant manager rushed over. Mr. West, would you like us to handle this creature for you? Get it away from me, Julian shrieked. No need, Eleanor spoke up, interjecting. Eleanor, why on earth would you keep such an ugly beast around? Julian asked, bewildered. Eleanor spared him a look of pure disdain. Julian, you really are shameless. Terrified of a tiny dog. She reached out and gathered the puppy into her arms. He's actually quite cute. It would be good to bring him home as a companion for Lucas. Julian stared at the dog with a look of utter disgust. I swear, if I find out who sent me this, I'll curse them to spend their life with a dog just as hideous as this one. Through the camera hidden on the dog's collar, I caught the whole scene. Suddenly, I let out a massive sneeze. That bastard Julian. If I had known, I wouldn't have bathed the dog before sending it over. Wait, looking at Aunt Eleanor, she doesn't actually plan on adopting it, does she? No way. This was supposed to be a gift, to harass that petty man, Julian West. Eleanor stood up, still holding the puppy. All right. Our business is concluded. I'm heading home. Hey, are you really leaving just like that? Julian called out. I thought we were having dinner together? Next time, Eleanor tossed the words over her shoulder without looking back. She left the restaurant and returned to the villa. When I wasn't downstairs to greet her, she noticed the puppy in her arms was so hungry it had begun suckling on her finger. She smiled and pulled out the baby formula and bottle her assistant had picked up for her. However, she was far from an expert at preparing it. She accidentally spilled the powder all over the table. Watching from the top of the stairs, I let out a long sigh before heading down. I took the bottle and the formula from Eleanor's hands and began preparing it with practiced ease. Eleanor watched me, noting how skillful my movements were, not at all like someone doing this for the first time. Curiosity got the better of her. Did you raise a child before? I answered calmly. I haven't raised a child, but I have cared for infants. Hearing this, Eleanor's mind began to race with wild suspicions. Could he and Gwenjong already have a baby? Actually, I continued, I used to volunteer at an orphanage quite often during my university years. There were many infants at the orphanage who still needed bottle feeding, I explained. I let a drop of milk fall onto the back of my hand to test the temperature. Then with a slight, awkward grumble, I pulled the puppy into my lap and began to feed it. Eleanor watched me, thinking about my frequent volunteer work and realizing how much I truly loved children. I found myself thinking, if Eleanor and I had a child, I'd want a little girl. I would definitely spoil her like a princess. As she observed my gentle expression, a sudden, inexplicable jealousy flared in her heart. Are you thinking about Gwen again? Do you want to have children with her that badly? You know, kids are a hassle. They cry constantly. They wet the bed. She spoke with a look of feigned disgust. I was taken aback. So, you don't like children, Aunt Eleanor? Whether I like them or not doesn't matter, she replied. As long as she was happy, I was fine with it. In fact, knowing that the West family would never accept a daughter-in-law who refused to bear children made me secretly joyful.
Aha.
Since she clearly doesn't want kids, Julian West doesn't stand a chance. Watching my happy expression, Eleanor's fingers unconsciously dug into the sofa cushion. Does he really love children that much? What if that girl uses a child to bind him to her forever? Her dark, silent gaze made me grow anxious. Does she know what I did today? Is she going to settle the score for Julian's sake? Noticing my shifty eyes, Eleanor's gaze darkened further. Lucas, were you the one behind that revenge on Julian tonight? Yes, it was me, I admitted. I just wanted to pull a small prank to embarrass him. Is it that serious? Eleanor remained silent, watching me. Lucas, I'm no longer a child. Was that guy really worth all that effort? It's not about whether he's worth it or not. It made me happy, and that's enough. The more she tried to protect Julian, the more stubborn I became. If I couldn't have her, I certainly wasn't going to let him have a moment of peace. Seeing my resolute face, Eleanor suppressed the fire burning in her heart. Lucas, starting tomorrow, you're coming to work with me at the office. My eyes lit up. Really? I had begged her countless times before, but she had always refused. I didn't know why she had suddenly changed her mind, but working at Vance Court meant I could keep Julian far away from her. Yes, it's true. I didn't want you to work too hard before graduation, but since you're so bored at home, come with me. Before she could finish, I leaped up, swept her into my arms, and began spinning her around. Aunt Eleanor, you're the best. I love you, Eleanor. She grew dizzy from the spinning, feeling as though she were about to fly away. Instinctively, she wrapped her arms around my neck, burying her face against my shoulder. Her ears were filled with the echo of my words. I love you, Eleanor. In that moment, her only desire was to drag me straight to bed. I couldn't see the look on her face, but I felt the searing heat where her skin touched mine. That one moment of contact broke my final bit of restraint. We both collapsed onto the sofa. I wanted more, so much more. I turned to catch her hand, and I realized she wanted more, too. She was driven to the brink of madness, no longer caring about anything as she sought out my warmth. I carried her directly into the bedroom. Very quickly, we progressed to step 1, step 2, and step. When we were both finally exhausted, Eleanor told me the truth. She had only dropped hints about having a boyfriend to see if I would get jealous. The result was exactly what she had hoped for. I confessed that my relationship with Gwen was for the exact same reason. Hearing this, we both burst into laughter. Because she had adopted me after my mother's death, Eleanor had always felt that her feelings for me were wrong. Whenever another woman was near me, she would be driven to the point of insanity by jealousy, never realizing that I felt the exact same way about her. Eleanor, you have to be mine. You belong to me forever.